Hey everybody, Andrew here at the Howard Homestead here in our freshly planted orchard that we put in this year. Now, one of the big pests, issues, challenges that you may have with your new orchard is the whitetail deer. Now, whitetail deer love to eat on just about anything, especially young trees like you may be planting in your orchard. One of the issues with deer is that they mess with your tree all year long. Now, they love to eat the new leaves. They love to eat the leaves at the end of the year. At fall time, they love to rub their antlers on especially smaller trees. And also in the wintertime, deer are big browse eaters, meaning that they'll come in and eat the bark, small limbs off your trees, even in the wintertime. So the question is, what do you do about it? Well, there's a few options you can do. First would be to put a big old fence all the way around your orchard. You're gonna need one at least 8 feet tall, otherwise the deer will just jump over it. Another option you could do is a multi-strand electric fence. Now, third option you can do is what Living Traditions did. They basically built like a 2-fence system with a moat in between, and that's where they run a lot of their poultry. That's a pretty cool option. Now, the only issue with those 3 options is that it takes a lot of infrastructure to put up. You gotta put up a lot of fence, costs some money, also is more to manage throughout the year for as far as weed eating, cleaning, repairs, that sort of thing. So what we did on our homestead was something just a little bit different. We made basically a modified version of a very large tomato cage. So we went out and got a big old roll of concrete wire. Now, the concrete wire you can find in most hardware stores, lumber yards, that sort of thing. So the roll we got was about 150 feet long. It's about 5 feet tall. Now, for each tree, we cut the sections of wire about 13 feet long. And when we cut it, we wanted to have a tab on each section. So that way, when we secured it, we can just simply bend these tabs over to keep the cages securely in place. That way, we just bend the tabs open so we can easily get in to work on the tree or the surrounding area. Now, to keep the cages securely in place so deer don't just simply push them over, we drove in a 6-foot long T-post into the ground. This is where we put the 2 ends of the cages. We secured one end of the cage with wire to the T-post, and the other end we just folded over the tabs. And on the other side of the cage, we put 2 stakes into the ground to keep the cage securely in place. That way we didn't have to use multiple T-posts per tree. When we planted each tree initially, we put a weed mat down, we mulched it, and we put a tree guard on each tree. A tree guard helps keep the tiny critters like rabbits off it, also protects it from sun damage. Now, the mulched area that we initially did wasn't as big as the area that the cage covers, so what we'll do is we'll add more mulch to it, and also we're gonna add comfrey at each tree location. Now, another reason we went with the individual cage route is because this February, we're gonna plant clover in all this area, and I also like to run our mobile chicken coop throughout the orchard. And if I had a big fence in the way, it would make that a little more difficult to do. Now, as the trees mature in several years, we'll probably just end up removing these cages as they won't be as susceptible to deer damage at that point. To keep deer out of your orchard, you may want to try out this concrete cage version. For more growing guide information or other tips and tricks to grow your orchard, go to starkbros.com.